And ladies and gentlemen, this is a bit of a weird edition of the RotoHackers Podcast. I'm going to be your host and also probably your only analyst for most of the episode. But fortunately, the absolute stud, it's Jared, is here today on the RotoHackers Podcast once again. Judah Buddha is not able to make it today. He's on vacation right now with his family, getting close to Christmas time and all. But Jared is here, and we are your unauthorized reporters of fantasy football news and information. Jared, how are you?
Doing okay. Yeah, I'm out of pocket today. I'm in Arizona, so I'm on Eastern time, so I'm later than you guys are, earlier than you are today. So I'm like have a little like rigged up setup here, and I don't have my regular mic. And I just woke up a little while ago, so my hair's all kind of all over the place. So people are just gonna have to take what they can get today.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. And I don't know if you heard, Jared, but last night I was checking the RotoHackers Podcast, and we officially hit 100 views on an episode.
Oh,
I did it.
I knew we had 90 something on one of those old ones, and so I figured it would probably get up there to 100. So Judah was probably like just going back in and repeatedly clicking so he could get to give away a T-shirt.
Oh my goodness! We actually did it. Somehow we did it.
Yeah, it was close. It was close.
Nice.
It was like 90. Like 90 something. So I figured we would have like a handful of people at least who came along and clicked on it to get it over the top.
Yeah. So, fortunately we did. And Omar Brea, welcome to the show. Good luck in your championship against your brother. I hope you win that. And exciting news, by commenting on this episode, you have put yourself in the running for a free RotoHackers T-shirt. Since Judah Buddha is not here, I've had to make up the rules, but we're going to be accepting entries from now until the 28th. That's going to be my rule set. I don't know if we're going to podcast on Christmas Eve. But anyway, that looks like the current rules right now. So congratulations, Omar. You are submitted for a free RotoHackers T-shirt. Thanks for joining the show. So, Jared, you got any words of wisdom to start us off here?
This is a tough week. I was sitting here looking through my lineups, and I'm fortunate in that I've got a lot of good options, but it's a mix, Mm-hmm. So we've got Saturday games, we've got the Sunday games like usual, and then we've got an intriguing Monday night game, mostly intriguing because of the Vikings running back situation.
Definitely.
So right now it's looking like it's probably going to be Mike Boone at running back for the Vikings in just a golden matchup against the Packers. But, you're going to have a lot of teams out there who probably don't have Dalvin Cook and don't have Alexander Madison. They've just picked up Boone. And so there's a lot of risk actually there with, holding on and rolling Boone out. So, especially if maybe your other choice plays today, you may have to go ahead and make that decision today as opposed to Sunday. So, so that's really tough. I've got him in a league where I also have Cook and Madison.
There you go. Well, perfect.
So I can just roll with that.
Pretty much, yeah. Neither of them have practiced all week, not even today. So it looks like they're probably neither going to play.
Looks that way. Still though, if you're in your championship and and it comes down to having to wait till that Monday night game and you've got a safer option today, that's pretty risky. I think I would probably do it. If your other option was not nearly as good, I would take the risk and maybe hope if it's in your flex that you can plug in a Kyle Rudolph or someone. But so it's interesting that the last week of the season, it's coming down to some tough decisions here in the final weekend partly because of scheduling, partly because of injuries.
Yeah, definitely. Math Quest, welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. It's a little higher than expected. Thanks for tuning in. You have just submitted yourself to being able to get a free RotoHackers T-shirt on stream. We'll be taking in submissions from the 21st to the 28th. So congratulations. You got any questions for us? We are here. See, now my big thing this week is probably still the news on, if I can type this up, Julian Edelman supposedly going to play, and I don't want to start him anywhere. I hate it when it looks questionable, shoulder and knee, and then he's playing Buffalo, which was the only team he had put single-digit points up against before last week had happened. Right. So I don't like Julian Edelman at all, and I figure you agree with me on this.
Yeah, I've got him in 2 or 3 leagues, and I benched him everywhere. And I think each time it's for Brashard Perryman. So
yeah,
that's a good matchup for Perryman. Oh gosh, it's just funny. I sit back and chuckle because I know at the end of the season, the last couple of weeks, it's going to come down to plugging in guys that at the beginning of the season you would have never dreamed would be on anyone's roster.
Oh, definitely.
Let alone in your championship game starting lineup. And definitely Brashard Perryman would have been one of those.
Yeah.
But he balled out last week against Detroit.
Oh yeah.
He's just kind of now the, I guess, unquestioned number 1 guy in Tampa, at least among the receivers. It's possible, OJ Howard or, the tight ends could maybe end up with the most receptions. But, I think Perriman's, a lock for 6 targets or so.
Oh yeah.
And he turned those into 100+ yards and 3 touchdowns last week. So I'm starting up more Brashard Perryman than what I'm comfortable with in my leagues. But it's such a good matchup, and with the other guys down and how he performed last week, it's hard to sit him with that.
Yeah, and especially I think it was Ryan N last week put it really well. James has got to throw 400 yards to someone.
Yeah,
and I don't think OJ Howard's going to get 400 yards.
No, yeah.
It's a nagging feeling. So I got a text from Judah Buddha last night, and he said that he wants to sit all of his Falcons, but he's starting all of his Jaguars. You look very shocked by this. What do you think?
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what the Jaguars defense has done to warrant that. I mean, last week against San Francisco, Julio Jones balled out.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan finished with a solid day. Devonta Freeman's got a pretty good matchup this time around. Austin Hooper's got a more friendly matchup. So I don't know why he's sitting. Maybe it's because maybe he's trying some. Maybe this was just some concerted reverse psychology, because in my league with him, it's going to be heavily Falcons dependent for me, because I have Matt Ryan, Austin Hooper, and Devonta Freeman all in my lineup against him in our championship game. And so currently he's projected to score 121.89 points, and I'm projected to score 125.86. So we'll see if it's going to be close. Well, on paper it looks like it's going to be close, but it could go either way. But so we've got our championship. So I don't really know. I don't really know what he's doing there. If he's really being sincere about that, or if he's just trying to throw in some late last second psychology to try to psych me out of benching some of these guys.
Gotcha. I think I can understand a little bit of where he's coming from, simply because if we like the last time the Falcons had a big upset, it was the Saints. They upset the Saints 26-9, and then they rolled over the Panthers, and then the next week after, the Bucs dominated. Now they've rolled over the Panthers, overcome the 49ers. So I think there is still the worry that they're going to get a little complacent and lose to the Jaguars. So I can see where he's coming from, but
the Jaguars defense is lately is, it's not been great.
Yeah.
I mean, they pulled out that win in Oakland, but Oakland's another team where you never know what you're going to get with them from week to week. But I'm feeling a little bit better about the Falcons. They seem to be playing for Dan Quinn's job. They've, Matt Ryan in the last 3 games, he had over 300 yards in the games against the Saints and the Panthers and 2 touchdowns in each. And he still had 2 touchdowns against the 49ers, but just 210 yards. So Matt Ryan has basically averaged about 20 points so over the last 3 games. Austin Hooper's back and healthy. He hasn't since he's been back, he's been pretty quiet with 32 yards and 20 yards. I think Jacksonville's just sort of middle of the road matchup. I think he can do okay. And then really Freeman, the Jaguars defense, I think Freeman can run on it. Jacksonville's now up to the 2nd most fantasy points allowed to running backs this season, when Freeman hasn't exactly been terribly reliable, but the last time he was up against a terrible run defense in Carolina, he ended up with 84 yards and a touchdown. He added some reception points and had 17.4 in points and half point PPR. So I understand. I guess I understand the mentality that Atlanta is not trustworthy. They're not trustworthy. But they're sort of. I don't know. I just feel like with the matchup and everything else that you've got to kind of give them a shot.
Right. Yeah, and now this kind of also goes into one of the major injuries from last week. That DJ Chark is also trending towards playing. So how do you feel about him then? Because we've talked a lot about the Falcons recently, but what do you think about the Jags?
Well, the thing about Chark is, we talked about this before. Is he's not really all that reliable. With he's been really up and down and. After the first probably 5 weeks of the season, he's been more down than up. So, so through, he had about a 9-week stretch there from, I guess, weeks 6 through 14. Let's see, 8-week stretch, I guess. So where he had, single digits in 5 out of those 8 games. So, and really, he had one blow up game against
Indianapolis.
San Francisco last week against the Falcons didn't really pass all that well, despite the fact that the Falcons had lost Trufant, their top cornerback. So I mean, on paper, it seems like a good matchup for Chark, but he's had some of those others before where we've been kind of expecting, Chart week. Yeah. The Tampa game, the ultimate, one of the ultimate pass friendly defenses. He had two catches for 47 yards. A few weeks earlier, Houston, another extremely friendly defense. He had 4 catches for 32 yards. And so, I mean, to me, Chark and the Jaguars options are less trustworthy than the Falcons track record.
Wow. Yeah. So with Calvin Ridley gone, would you start anyone like a Russell Gage or something, maybe in a flex position?
I mean, I think you could, depending on what you've got. But man, there are so many options. If you've played your lineup or played the waiver wire pretty well, that I honestly this week, the tough thing, there's been weeks before where I've had a hard time deciding, oh my gosh, these are all terrible matchups. Who am I going to put in there? But for me this week, it's almost just an abundance of wealth where, so in one league, I've got, I've had Hopkins and I've had Allen Robinson, and then Chark. But then now I've also, I'd also picked up AJ Brown and Brashard Perryman. And so any of those 5 are pretty good starting options. So if you're in a deeper league, I think you could definitely give a guy like Gage a shot. If you're in a 10-team league and you've played the waiver wire pretty well, like you probably don't need to go that deep into the waiver wire.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are not only gifted by the presence of It's Jared today, but somehow Judah Buddha is here with us as well.
This looks like the beginning. It looks like the beginning of like a Blair Witch video or something. So automatically, I'm terrified of what's going to happen here. This is found footage. It's found footage.
Well, Judah Buddha, we've been talking about your Falcons and Jaguars call. You want to explain yourself?
Yeah, I've been listening. So the main reason is because the offensive line is really banged up for the Falcons, and this is like historically, that's not directly related to what's going to happen, but it just serves to kind of warn me off of the Falcons because historically, when things get rough, they're out of the playoffs. This is the time that Matty Ice kind of packs it up and ships it in. And so if he goes on his back more than 3 times in the first quarter.
So what do you think about Chark then? You're saying start your Jaguars. Chark's banged up. Are you liking him?
Yeah, I'm really liking Chark. I think this is a great spot for him. I think he's healthy. If he plays, I mean, it's still not sure whether or not he plays, right?
He's trending towards playing, I should say.
Yeah.
He's trending towards playing, but I think if he plays, like he's healthy enough to play, smash him in there. The other thing is Narrative Street. The Jaguars getting rid of their coach. I think it lifted a burden. GM.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Coach is still there. GM, but though this GM was a burden on the team.
Yeah, Mr. Penalty fines Tom Coughlin.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think you can see like a spark of energy come out of them where they've just been under a burden for the last couple of weeks here, and it could be bad news for the Falcons. Also, I think Houston is just going to smash. Houston is just going to smash Jackson. The other Tampa Bay. Yeah. I feel like this is just a spot where everybody's going to be playing Jameson. And because he's been great, and I've loved him. You know me, I've been saying play Jameson. I think this is going to be I don't know if you've ever had the experience with Perryman, but I call him Mr. No Hands because the man cannot catch a ball. He happened to catch a lot of good ones last week, but sure, he might do it again. But the guy cannot catch a ball. In his last 4 years of NFL history, has not been able. Was it 4 or 3? 4, I think. This is 4. Has not been able to catch a ball worth anything. Yeah, and so
wow, that's harsh.
But you know what I love about the finals being on the finals this year is that we've got 3 days of games. Which is kind of like 3 days of a lot of games, you know? Well, okay, 2 days of a lot of games, like 1 day of one game, right? But so we're gonna know, like in one of my finals, I'm only in 2. It's the 2 I care about. In the other one, other than Jared, I will know whether I've won today. You know, like his whole team's gone today.
Wow.
So I won't know, right? I mean,
you'll have a good idea.
Yeah, y'all have a really good idea. You have a couple guys going, don't you, Jared?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
Mustard, Colonel Mustard.
I don't know that I'm playing him. I may hold out on Mike Boone.
Interesting. Well, that's
you've got Mike Boone in there right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we see someone's been checking my lineup very closely.
What are you talking about, dude? It's the finals. I've been checking everybody's lineup every day.
Well, anyway, while you're here, let's try to get a question into answer. Ray Gibson's here and says, we give the best advice. Thanks, Ray. So the Roto Hackers are here for. He says, which defense to start, Steelers or Broncos? These both have great matchups this week.
Steelers, right?
Broncos for me.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Steelers in that well, basically, I mean, anytime a defense is at home or on the road, it makes a huge difference because at home they've got the crowd behind them. It's tougher for the opposing offense. And the Steelers have about like 3/4 of their sacks or something like that have come in Pittsburgh. 2/3, 3/4, something like that. They're just on the road. They're just not as good of a defense. Darnold has been playing better. He looked pretty good on the road at Baltimore last week. He at least didn't turn the ball over a ton, even though he didn't score a ton of fantasy points. He didn't really kill him. Didn't provide a ton of points to the Ravens defense. So with him at home and the Steelers on the road, I would actually play the Broncos because look, you've got the Broncos have been playing well.
Yeah, they have.
I picked them up in a couple of leagues actually last week in anticipation for this week, and they so the last 5 weeks they've had 8 points or more in 3 of the last 5 weeks, and it's David Blau, the Lions quarterback. Again, on the road. It was 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to think 2 weeks ago, Minnesota's defense put up 13 points against him. And then last week, Tampa feasted with, and this was in Detroit, Tampa had 15 points. So I think, with the Broncos playing pretty well and Blau not having that many starts, I would go with Denver.
Okay, even though they've got the Jets this week.
I gotta go.
All right, you got any last words of wisdom for Ray here?
No, for Ray, go either way. It could be, it's just your finals. It's just your final game. No, I don't know. I think I really like what Jared said. I think that's good. That's smart. Although Galladay is going to go crazy on them, so I don't know. We'll see. But I do want to say thank you to all our viewers. Thank you to you two guys, man. This has been a really fun season. It's been fun to do this. Next year we're going to be bigger. We're going to be badder, and we still got a lot of episodes to go. As far as we want to talk some NFL stuff, some playoff stuff, and then later the draft. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I love you guys, and be safe. And
all
right.
You too.
Bye.
Well, good to see him on the episode for that little bit of time we had.
Sound just.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
I think my sound just went out.
Oh no.
Or I can't hear anything.
Hello? Hello? Oh boy, we are experiencing technical difficulties.
I don't know if this is me or you, but I can't hear anything now.
Well, I'm checking the YouTube stream, and I can hear both of us up there. So I think it's on your side, I think.
Let's see. Let me try.
Well, while you're checking, I'm going to answer Ray myself real quick. Ray, I think that the Steelers are probably the safest bet. I think they're one of the best defenses in the league right now. But the Broncos, I think, are a completely underrated defense, and I'm with Jared on the fact that they're playing Detroit. And I don't trust Detroit's offense at all. So even though the Steelers have a really solid matchup, they're still playing in New York. I like going with the Broncos as well this week. TS, thank you for tuning in. He asks, Woods, Perriman, or Chark PPR? So I'm going to put these 1 to 3 right now. So starting with Robert Woods. Woods is a little bit of an interesting case because he just came on recently after a couple weeks where he wasn't really doing much. The thing that worries me is that he's playing San Francisco. And the Rams just came off a really bad game in Dallas. I'm not really liking it. However, I do think that Perriman is a really good play because, I mean, we've said it quite a few times today that Jameis has got to throw to someone. I know Judah Buddha isn't that high on him, but he has 4 touchdowns in 2 games, and I think that says a lot. And while I like DJ Chark, I've liked him the entire year, and then I woke up and realized that he hasn't really done a lot over the past few weeks. Now, he is questionable to play, and we're fully expecting him to play in Atlanta. And Atlanta, they don't have the best pass defense anymore with Desmond Trufant gone. So, honestly, I think you could probably go Perriman just because he's got the upside, and then Woods. And then Chark, I mean, he's banged up, and which Falcons are we going to see? Are we going to see good Falcons or are we going to see bad Falcons? I don't really know. So I go Perriman first, then Robert Woods, then DJ Chark. Thomas H., thank you for tuning in. He asks Matt Ryan or Ryan Tannehill. So this is an interesting one. I've been a big Tannehill believer since he came to starting for the Tennessee Titans. I think he's revolutionized the team. I think he's been eerily consistent in the quarterback realm of points, getting basically at least 25. I mean, 18 is like his floor. We've seen him get 13 once, but 18 is about his floor. Here's the thing with Matty Ice. I mean, I love Matt Ryan. I think I love him a lot. But I think that the safer pick is probably Ryan Tannehill. Because Ryan, I mean, he's had a very consistent last 3 games, but we've also seen the 3 games before that. I mean, New Orleans 15, Carolina 16, Tampa. He had 8 against the worst pass defense in the league, and the only person who threw a touchdown that game was Matt Schaub. So I think, he's got Jacksonville, and yes, they're going to need him to throw, but I'll say that Tannehill is definitely the safer pick, and I would probably rather start him because of that, because he has the less chance of blowing up in my face. So I say Tannehill is the safer start. Ryan could get you more points, but Matt Ryan could get you more points, but I'll go Ryan Tannehill. Thomas H. also asks, would I dare bench the unstoppable Derrick Henry? No. No, I am not daring to bench Derrick Henry. He has been a top 5 running back over basically the entire course of the year and had an insane 5-game stretch where he was looking like Christian McCaffrey, averaging over 20 points a game. He had a rough game against Houston. Partially that's because of injury. He's no longer listed on the injury report. He's good to go. I know the matchup against the Saints might cause you to maybe deviate from that course and maybe think about benching him. But if you're thinking about benching Derrick Henry, I say you need to have someone absolutely insane to be able to put over him. You better have like a Christian McCaffrey and a Joe Mixon against Miami, and that would be the only way that I would bench him, because I love Derrick Henry this year. I think he's going to do very, very well this week. I am not benching him at all. And congratulations to Ray Gibson, TS, and Thomas H. You've been submitted to getting a free RotoHackers T-shirt. I'm going to be doing this all day. But just by commenting, you are now in the running. We'll be taking in submissions, comments during live streams and on this video and future videos until the 28th. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And that appears to be all of the questions that we've got right now. And Jared has disappeared. So if you guys don't have any questions right now, be sure to leave them in the comments still. But I do want to talk for just a second about today's games, being that we've got 3 of them. I mean, Thomas H., I'm with you. Thursday, I woke up and I was like, "There's no Thursday night game. This is weird." Oh, right. We've got 3 games on Saturday. So if you're not into watching North Carolina A&T in their bowl game this week, we got 3 games. We got Texans versus Bucks. We've talked a little about that. Bills versus Patriots is an interesting one. And this is one where I'm really only starting Devin Singletary if I have to. If I absolutely have to. Because Oh man, they're playing the Patriots. This is the one team that the Patriots offense really, really struggled against. They only put up 17 points. I think the Bills are going to have a rough go of it. Julian Edelman, he's banged up. I don't like him with two completely separate injuries, mind you. I don't like that. Honestly, I am really the only person I would think about starting is in a flex in a deeper league is James White. That's about it. Not starting any of the Patriots wide receivers. Not starting Brady. He hasn't been reliable for quite a long time. Josh Allen could be good, I think maybe, or John Brown, simply because they've done well. They've got a good connection with each other. Brown could probably get you a solid 10. But the running backs, especially for both teams, I don't trust them. I like the Patriots defense this week. And so moving on. Yep, Samuel Wilson, welcome to the AJ Herschel Show. The kid. Everyone else is kind of gone right now. They're on vacation, so I'm here running the show. Jared is trying to fix some technical difficulties. If you got some questions for me, I guess right now, I'm here. Thank you for tuning in. And by commenting, I'm going to say this every time, you have been officially submitted to get a free RotoHackers T-shirt. Congratulations, Samuel Wilson. We'll be taking submissions from now until the 28th. So congratulations. You are in the running to get a free RotoHackers T-shirt. Now, one last game, which is tonight, I think it's Rams 49ers, and I know Jared is talking a little bit about Mostert this week, but I like him this week. I've liked Mostert. I think he's got a decent matchup this week against the Rams. I think he is the number one. Definitely, he's the number one in their backfield, and I believe that we have the return of It's Jared. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Welcome back,
okay.
Sir.
Yeah, I'm having technical issues, so I had to go Judah's route with the phone here. My computer, my laptop is kind of on its last legs here, and so once in a while it just decides, oh, I'm not working anymore. So that may be this may be an end of the year or beginning of the year investment for me. So so I did I miss any? Do we have any other questions? I probably just need to take another question or two and duck out. But
yeah, well, we got a couple. First off, Samuel Wilson's asking, do we think the Rams are going to be absolute garbage next year if they get a new quarterback and release Todd Gurley? What do you think about that? Now move this because your face is blocking your face. So what do you think?
I mean, with Gurley this year, towards the end of the year, they've kind of gone back to him. So I haven't heard anything about them releasing him. He's now that he's getting carries again, he's been, pretty productive.
Yeah.
He's not been the superstar game changer that he was before, but I don't think they would release him unless it was some sort of, I don't know what the structure of his contract is. So I can't imagine they would do that unless they had built it in that, after 2 years, because I think this is just the second year of his deal, that somehow, there wasn't, that the money was, most of the money was up front in the first 2 years. I don't know if it's that dramatic on the contract. So I would think he would be there unless you know something to the contrary. And then Goff, again, they're so financially committed to him. I don't think that they can just abandon him at this point. I think they'll have to roll with him again. And no, I don't think they'll be. I don't think they're going to be a legitimate contender. I think it's going to be even tougher as time goes on. With they're going to have to pay Jalen Ramsey. They're already paying Aaron Donald. So the Rams are in a tough situation with paying mediocre players star money.
Yeah. Which is kind of interesting because I actually just realized, sorry about this, I misread the thing. Yes, are they actually going to, would they do better? Would they do better if they get a new quarterback and release Gurley?
I don't think they need to release Gurley. As far as a new quarterback, I think Jared Goff has pretty well been exposed. Sean McVay has tried to do everything that he can with him. But at this point, I mean, we saw last week with the Cowboys, Goff just wasn't able to do anything for him. So, I think they're in a really tough spot with him.
Yeah, Goff's contract extends to 2024. That's a year longer than Gurley sticking around. So,
yeah,
that's got to be rough. I think they're dedicated to Goff. I mean, the cash shows it right now. I don't think they should get rid of Gurley, and I don't think they would get rid of Gurley. I don't think they would be better without Gurley, because right now he's arguably the most essential part of their offense right now. Because when he gets going, the Rams get going. When he starts playing well, the Rams start playing well.
Yeah, and Tyler Higbee. Like, Tyler Higbee is the most important part of the Rams offense right now.
He is, honestly. It's like Gerald Everett, but he's getting more fantasy points for everyone now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get back to the right here to one of the questions that we had. Thomas H. had asked Matt Ryan or Ryan Tannehill. So what do you think?
That's a tough spot. I think they're both going to be around 20 points.
Yeah.
The Saints defense is playing pretty well lately. They just shut down Jacoby Brissett in the Superdome.
Yeah.
And then over Thanksgiving, I guess, can't remember if it's a Thanksgiving game or not, but the game in Atlanta, they roughed up Matt Ryan. He still ended up with a bunch of garbage points at the end, but they just basically shut down that Falcons offense. So I think it's going to be a tougher game for Tannehill. But at the same time, like, his ceiling has, proven higher than Matt Ryan's.
Yeah.
So I think Ryan has the better matchup. But honestly, I think they're both going to probably land around 20 points. If you need upside, you could probably, I guess, get it from either one. But Tannehill's proven it lately that he can get up to about 30 points. So I would give a slight edge to Tannehill, but I think because of the matchup, Matt Ryan's going to be right there with him.
Yeah. Also, Thomas H. asked us about, the one player we've been advocating for who's been putting up insane fantasy type Christian McCaffrey-like numbers. Would you dare bench the unstoppable Derrick Henry, Jared?
I would, depending on your options.
Interesting.
I mean, New Orleans defense last week, we saw what they did to Marlon Mack. Again, that was, I think, more maybe about the Colts than it was about the Saints. But the Saints have a good run defense, and the main thing with Henry is that he's hurt. His hamstring keeps limiting him. Seems like a little more each week. Depending on what your options are, I mean, I'm definitely not in the start your studs camp. Last week I benched Melvin Gordon and Le'Veon Bell both in a league, and started Miles Sanders.
Nice.
And Carson was my other option. So I mean, Chris Carson was a must start. But I'm not a start your studs guy. I think if it's a bad matchup, if your guy's hurt, I mean, this week we were just talking about benching Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
So I think, you take a risk on him blowing up for 30 points and then you feeling sick to your stomach. But but depending on what your options are, I almost there aren't many guys that are just absolute must starts no matter the matchup.
I think the absolute must start of the week is definitely Joe Mixon, though.
Yeah,
for sure. Miami,
absolutely.
He's been exploding recently. What else is there to say?
Yeah, and Judah's playing him against me.
In
our league, so I don't like that.
Yikes. Good luck with that. That's going to be rough.
Yeah.
We had one other question back here from TS right after you left. He asked, Woods, Perriman, or Chark for PPR?
I think actually Perryman for me.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Woods in San Francisco, San Francisco's pass defense is pretty tough. Julio Jones lit him up last week. Robert Woods isn't Julio Jones, and you just never know week to week what the Rams offense is going to do, who's going to get the ball. The only constants nowadays seem to be Gurley and Higbee. Chark has a great matchup. You can definitely make an easy argument for starting him over Perryman. Because, Chark's had a good season. He's that team's unquestioned number one receiver. But, more weeks than not, he just hadn't played that well. So that's another tough one. But I would go with Perriman.
Yeah, that's what I said too. I think part of it just has to go with the fact that Jameis has got to throw to someone. Chark's banged up, and then Woods. Are we gonna see good? Are we gonna see good Rams who were able to upset the Seahawks, or are we gonna see not so good Rams?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
That's all the questions we got for now. You got anything else that you would like to say for us? Any other words of advice?
Not really. Just good luck. Good luck in your championships. Like Judah said, it's been a long season, a fun season. We're still gonna be here. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to all, I guess, figure out what the schedule is going to be like next week since Tuesday falls on Christmas Eve. But hopefully we can still get in a. We've still got to get in a post. Championship week. Weeknight broadcast. Maybe we do it on, I don't know, Monday or Thursday instead, or Monday it wouldn't be over, but
we'll see.
Thursday or something. So
we'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah. It should be interesting. I do kind of just want to ask you this random question because I was looking on my waiver wire a couple days ago, just seeing if there's anyone out there, and I noticed that in the running back slot, the fifth best pickup was David Johnson.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure. I guess he's had a little bit of a resurgence lately. Mini resurgence, but that's behind Kenyon Drake scoring 4 touchdowns. It's the Seahawks this week. The Seahawks aren't a great run defense. So I guess if you're desperate, but it just seems like I don't know what the scenario is where you pick up David Johnson, but that's not in my that's not what I'm looking for this week.
Yeah, definitely not. Especially considering that, I don't even know. It's just rough seeing that he's the guy who would get 25 carries a game, and now he's getting 3. That's really rough.
Yeah. I think if I can't look it up, but I think if I remember right, he had a touchdown last week. Then he caught a couple of balls, but that's just that's like a fluky. You might as well. It seems like you almost might as well start Chris Thompson if you're going to start him. It's about the same sort of chances there.
Yeah. Samuel Wilson's got one more question for us. Next year, who is your number 1 pick in next year's draft?
Well, just based on resume, I think you've got to go CMC.
Oh yeah,
you got to go Christian McCaffrey. The only thing that scares me though is that it's really tough for players to keep repeating year to year. It's tough for them to avoid getting injured if they've had a series of healthy seasons. It's just inevitable that an injury is going to come. I said this year, we can go back to the start of our podcast, is Saquon Barkley won't be a top 5.
Yeah, great call.
And I don't know where he's going to finish, but between the missed time, not just the missed time, but even when he did come back, until last week's game against the Dolphins, he just hadn't really done much.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm curious to see where he'll get drafted next year, if he'll drop down a few spots or what. But with him, I think he'll be I think he'll be a slightly better value because he probably won't be the number 1 pick. I don't know if he'll be even 2 or 3. But I would say, I don't know how you go against McCaffrey. Dalvin Cook. Here we've seen Dalvin Cook has an injury history, and mostly he avoided it for most of the season. Now it's starting to kind of rear its head here towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
So just running through, guys off the top of my head. I mean, I'm trying to think, is there anybody that's gonna beat McCaffrey out for that number 1 pick?
Yeah.
For most people, and I don't think that's the case. And I guess he would be mine. I mean, there's just nobody other than maybe Saquon, having a healthier year that right now today I can think of that I would be willing to jump McCaffrey for.
Yeah, I'm liking C-Mac a lot. The only thing that worries me is like he's his entire team in Carolina right now. So I'm just worried of injury. But I mean, it's crazy looking at like the top 10 this year. You got Saquon, who's been fine. Kamara has been fine. Chubb's been good. Adams has been good. But then you get Hopkins did nothing for half the year, and then he exploded again. So I think C-Mac, but I also think depending on what happens in the offseason, it could also be a good Nick Chubb year as well. I think Nick Chubb could get drafted really high. Now, for me, I always have the bad luck, or not necessarily bad luck. I never got first or second pick this year. Highest I got was, I think, third, and then everything else was 5 or lower. So I think next year, if I'm in that position again, I'm going to be taking a lot of my.
Oh, I think I just ducked out again. Well, I think I ducked out, not AJ, but mine still says it's going.
Well, this has certainly been an unconventional RotoHackers episode. My computer just completely went out, and I hope Jared comes back because it wasn't him on his phone. My computer completely just died on me, and so I'm having to switch computers here. I hope he comes back. If not, thank you, Jared, for tuning in. I'm going to say this is going to be my big pickup next year's draft, if anyone is still watching. I would say Michael Thomas is definitely going to be my big pickup next year. I think that he is breaking barriers. No one's noticing, but he's breaking barriers. I think it's going to be a really big year for him next year as well, especially if Drew Brees comes back. And, yeah, Samuel Wilson, Josh Jacobs, could be a huge steal. Fully healthy, Raiders moving into year 3, progressively getting better and better under John Gruden. Yeah, I think you're totally right about that. I got nothing else to say. I think you're completely right. Well, unless Jared comes back, I think that will do it for another RotoHackers podcast. Thank you all for tuning in if you're still here. If not, apologies for all the technical difficulties that went on. I'm just going to finish this off with this. Will Grier is going to be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers this week, and that makes me a little bit concerned for people like DJ Moore. Not so much for Christian McCaffrey because, as you all know, he's Christian McCaffrey. But they're playing especially since they're playing the Colts. But it's going to be interesting, to say the least. I think DJ Moore, if you need him, could be a decent flex play. But I'm really not huge. I'm not a huge fan of that idea right there. But I think he's going to be. I think C-Mac's still going to be number one. I wouldn't be starting Curtis Samuel, but Christian McCaffrey definitely up there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. If you're still here with us, this has been another edition of the RotoHackers Podcast Championship Week. Congratulations to everyone who's tuning in because you've been officially submitted to win a free RotoHackers T-shirt as I'm shamelessly plugging our show. I hope Jared's doing all right now. Guys, be sure to, if we don't see you next week, because Christmas Eve is on Tuesday, so I don't know if we're going to be podcasting then. But if not, hope you guys have a great Christmas week. Hope you guys win your fantasy championships as well. We will see you next time on the RotoHackers Podcast. My name is AJ Herschel. I have been your host, and we will see you next time. Keep calm